Hey guys, this is Lucas from Better Coding Academy, and in a previous video we built in this application using render props to show the current mouse location inside of a component. However, as I mentioned in the last video, this is not my preferred solution, and the reason for that is because A, of the amount of nesting that goes on here, and B, because your return statement becomes increasingly long with a lot of data inside of here, which makes it hard to access and manipulate this information in the rest of your component. So for example, the X and the Y are only accessible inside of here, and they can't actually be used within the context of my component, so I'm not a huge fan of this syntax. However, now let's have a look at the latest syntax, which is React hooks, and we're going to rewrite this to use that syntax. So we've got our current mouse location here, and I'm going to rename this to useCurrentMouseLocation.js. And the reason we call it useCurrentMouseLocation with a lowercase u is because this is the syntax that we use for React hooks. And now we take this name here, useCurrentMouseLocation, and we include it back inside of here. And we can do something like const x and y is equal to useCurrentMouseLocation, and all we have to do is show it on the page like this. So we can do that and get rid of the x2 that we added before for demonstration purposes. So now that we've done this, obviously this code here exactly won't work anymore. We can get rid of this parameter up there. We've got coords, and all we simply need to do is return the coordinates. So we're going to return it, which is going to be x and y, and we return it here into this component. Now with that simple change, you'll notice that our code works perfectly fine, and we've reduced the amount of code we need inside of the component. Now the reason that this works is because React hooks use special React functions called useState and useEffect here. Now useEffect in this particular example, actually this is badly designed, I need to add square brackets here, I didn't even realize, but this essentially will run when the component mounts, and when it mounts it will add an event listener for mouse move to change the coordinates, and when it unmounts it will remove that listener. So this is very concise and easy to use, the useEffect hook here. And for useState, we essentially are storing state inside of our component, and in this case it is for the set of coordinates which we then set inside of our mouse move listener. So whenever we move the mouse we can do it on the page. Now the benefit of having this code inside of a useCurrentMouseLocation function, or I should say a useCurrentMouseLocation hook, is then we can use this same hook in any component that we please. So for example, we can use it inside of mouse tracker here, but if we were to use it in some other component as well, that would also work just fine. And the benefit of this approach is even if we were to use multiple hooks here, obviously with these names changed, then it will not go into infinite nesting, firstly, and secondly, it keeps a lot of it outside of the return statement, which means we can use these variables and the data that we kept back here inside of our component in various ways. So for example, we could get the mouse location here, and we might use it in some other hook here, for example with useEffect, and we might do something else with the x and the y value. So one example of this could be that every single time the x value changes specifically, we can create a counter which then increments the number of times x has been changed. So for example, we can do a counter here and the set counter, and we can do useState as, let's just say 0, and every single time that x changes, we will do set counter plus 1 like that. So now that we've done that, we can also add that here. So number of times x has changed, and then we could set that inside of the counter. So now we are using that, and let me add useEffect. Let me add useState in here as well. So now we are using that, and if we try to move across the page up and down very, very carefully, you'll notice that the x stays the same, but then when we change that, then that changes as well. So then this allows for a lot of extensibility even upon existing custom hooks. So this is a refactor of using hooks instead of render props here, and I believe that hooks in the large majority of cases can cover over the use of render props and also the use of higher order components. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This has been Lucas with Better Coding Academy, and see you guys later.